A smile is often the first thing you notice about a person, but not having access to good dental care could wipe that smile right off someone's face. In this episode of Being Well, I'll chat with Sarah Bush Lincoln dentist Dr. Cody Gass about ways he's helping break down barriers to receiving dental care to keep local patients smiling big.
When Sarah Bush Lincoln opened in 1977, it was with the promise to serve the community's healthcare needs. It has grown into a 2-hospital system with nearly 60 clinics that provide trusted, compassionate care.
For over 50 years, Horizon Health has been keeping you and your family healthy. And although some things have changed, Horizon Health's commitment to meet the ever-changing needs of our community has remained the same. Horizon Health, 50 years strong.
Carl is redefining healthcare around you, innovating new solutions and offering all levels of care when and where you need it. Investing in technology and research to optimize healthcare, Carl, with Health Alliance, is always at the forefront to help you thrive.
Thank you for joining us for the season finale of season 17 of WEIU's Being Well. I'm your host, Lacey Spence, and today we are going to be talking about the teeth. And to join us for this conversation on dentistry, we welcome in Sarah Bush Lincoln's fabulous dentist. We've got Dr. Cody Gass here with us. Welcome to Being Well.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. Before we dive into this topic and everything that SBL has to offer, can you tell us a little bit about how you got into dentistry and where you're from, that sort of thing?
Absolutely. So born and raised here in Mattoon, graduated here in Mattoon and continued my studies at Eastern Illinois University, and that's really where I began to fall in love with the field of dentistry. I became interested in it, shadowed, and continued my dental studies, or I continued my education going to SIU Dental School in Alton, and from there graduated and came back to Mattoon, Illinois to continue my practicing of dentistry. Did that there for 3 years, and that's when I started to volunteer for the Sarah Bush Lincoln Dental Program, and really fell in love with the mission and the values that they had. And from there, when the opportunity arose, I jumped on board with Sarah Bush, and I've been there ever since, going on about 5 years.
Well, wonderful. We tape our productions on the campus of Eastern Illinois University, so welcome back home.
Thank you.
We are excited to be talking about dentistry and the kind of services that Sarah Bush offers. So I think maybe a good place to start, what type of patients does this program service?
Yeah, absolutely. So the patient population that we see are kids 0 to 18. These kids are kids who don't have dental homes. Typically, to qualify for our program, you must either be on free or reduced lunch through the school system, or qualify for Illinois Medicaid or All Kids insurance.
Gotcha. So that's the first step, is knowing whether someone will qualify or not. Mm-hmm. I'm sure it's a huge service to the community. So as we're talking about this program, what types of services are offered to this 0 to 18 crowd?
Yeah, absolutely. So our program is a full comprehensive dental program that provides free services at no cost to these kids who qualify. Okay. We are a very unique corporation, or we're a very unique program in where that we offer 3 different types of multifactorial facets of where we can treat these kids. So we have our own dental clinic here in Mattoon, Illinois. The dental clinic is very much like a dental clinic that you would envision, very traditional in its setting. We see kids there 4 days a week. But what's really unique about our program is we have our dental bus. Ooh, and our dental bus is very unique. It's basically a dental bus on wheels. And so anything that you can envision a dental office has, we have it there on the bus. And so we're able to take, by being able to partner with our local schools, we're able to take that to 60 schools, roughly 60 schools throughout the school year, and be able to take those dental services to the schools and be able to see the children.
No, that's great, so that we don't have any teeth falling through the cracks here. Yeah. You guys serve a pretty wide area. Is it a 10-county area?
Yeah, 10-county area, roughly 60 schools. I believe last year we saw roughly around 3,000 kids. and did around 9,000 procedures.
Gotcha. Well, I'm sure having the bus pull up to the school maybe takes away some of the scaries, right, about the dentist's office.
Yeah. It's a really fun bus, very cool looking, and the kids love it. It's very welcoming and inviting, and we bring them on, and we do a whole array of different procedures or services for the kids. So it can be anything from a routine annual dental exam. We can do preventative services such as dental cleanings, exams, images, sealants, and we can also do restorative things. So if kids have issues, we can fix cavities, we can do fillings, we can do crowns, we can do extractions. And so really the sky's the limit on the bus. Anything that you can do in a dental office, we can really do on that bus as well.
Man, technology is so cool. I would never think that you could bring the dentist to me, but here you guys are. Yeah. So as far as making sure that my child, if I'm somebody who falls again within that category of the free and reduced lunch or Medicare?
Medicaid.
Medicaid.
Yeah, Illinois Medicaid, yep.
Sorry. But within that, how do I make sure that I know when the bus is going to pull up and make sure my kid doesn't miss out?
No, that's a great question. So every year at the beginning of the school year, we'll send out sign-up sheets, packets to the kids, and they'll get that through your school system. If for some reason you don't have that, you're more than welcome to contact the school. You fill out the paperwork, you sign up, you meet the qualifications, and then as we show up, you'll be called out to the bus, and things go from there.
Gotcha. So making sure that mom and dad are talking with the kiddos and making sure they're getting everything out of that backpack. We want to make sure we don't miss those forms. Can you tell me a little bit about the report card that you would give to schools as far as how they're ranking in the dental care?
No, absolutely. So after we visit a school every year, we give them report cards to kind of let them know what we found. And so we kind of keep it trivial. We do a simple scoring system of 1, 2, and 3. 1 being we saw a healthy mouth, 2 being we saw kids with 4 or less cavities, no urgent issues, or 3 where it be you have 5 or more cavities or urgent issues. Those urgent issues can range from infection or tooth pain, etc. And so on average, last year we saw that the kids, roughly 55% of those had level 2. Okay, so 4 cavities or less, and then about 30% of those kids had what we call level 3 or urgent issues. So, you know, my math's never my strong suit, but about 3,000 kids, that was roughly about 1,000 kids we saw last year that had some sort of tooth issue, whether that be excessive amount of cavities, tooth infection, tooth pain, etc. So definitely a good report card. The report card is a great way to kind of inform the schools of what's going on.
Right. Got to let them know if they should be pushing the kiddos to brush a little bit more, you know, take the flossing seriously. In your time since you've been at Sarah Bush and serving in this capacity, have you noticed any sort of a trend or whether things have gotten better or maybe need to work on those dental habits a little more?
Sure. I think the big thing is that, you know, there's always a new bunch of kids that come through. And so I think the big takeaway is really, you kind of see the statistics stay the same because the big barrier, one of the bigger barriers we have is oral health education.
Okay.
A lot of times kids or parents, they're not aware of not when to see the dentist or how often to see the dentist. So a lot of times when we see these kids preschool age, kindergarten age, first grade for maybe the first time, that might be the first time they've ever seen the dentist. And so typically if you've missed those 4 or 5 years where you should have been to the dentist to get routine checks, things happen, we'll start to see some things. And so I think the big thing is just trying to educate the kids and trying to let them know, you know, how often we should see the dentist, when to see the dentist, you know, how to brush, how often to brush, what foods are healthy, what drinks are healthy, what are not healthy, you know, and those kind of things will help them, you know, hopefully reduce their own dental issues down the road.
Right, kind of catch it early so that we can improve the overall dental health moving forward. Pardon me if I'm mistaken, but are there resources that you give to the students as far as toothbrushes and those sorts of things?
Thanks to Sarah Bush and charitable organizations that help us out, we're able to give them toothbrush kits to each and every student that signs up. These toothbrush kits have obviously a toothbrush, but they also have toothpaste, floss, and a nice cool little timer for the kiddos so that they know how long to brush. So you flip that timer over and we tell them we keep brushing until that sand goes away, and that's how long you should brush, because sometimes, you know, for some kids 2 minutes is an eternity. So that's it's a good little resource for them to have, because, you know, another thing we do is, you know, when we're doing these report cards, we're giving out surveys and kind of asking kids questions, and one statistic that kind of stood out is that 1 out of every 8 kids either don't have a toothbrush or don't know where it's at. And so it's so important to be able to give these kids these resources and these toothbrushes and things so that they can continue to build on their oral health and improve it.
No, it's a great service, maybe something that we often take for granted, having, a toothbrush or even a spare in the closet. So that's wonderful.
Yeah.
We've talked a lot about the positive capabilities, how many things you can do from the dental bus. Is there anything on the flip side that you can't do from the dental bus, but you might need the brick and mortar location to do?
Sure. So our brick and mortar location is great in the sense of, we have limitations on the bus, and typically that comes to the cooperative kid on the bus, we can see, but the ones that maybe need a little extra time or a little extra help, we only have so much time in a day, especially on the bus when we're at the school. That's where our fixed dental clinic comes in handy. So we're able to take the kids, and we do a lot of what I would say are our bread and butter dentistry there, where we're doing the fillings, the extractions, the crowns, the really heavy work there to kind of get the kids cavity free and healthy.
Gotcha. So more of the heavy duty stuff. When it comes to patients that you've seen, are there any stories that stick out in your mind that maybe really illuminate why this program is so important?
Oh, absolutely. That's probably one of the best parts of the job is some of the great success stories that we have, and that, a couple that stand out to me is one, we had a young girl who came into our dental office, about 10 years old, 11 years old, and wasn't smiling, wasn't very confident, and we went to go do the exam and look, and she was missing her front adult tooth. And we kind of asked a little bit more about it, and asked what happened, and we found out that through an accident she had lost that tooth. And when we kind of asked a little bit more and dug a little bit deeper, we found out that she had lost that tooth it'd been almost 2 years ago. Oh. So imagine being a 3rd or 4th grader and not having your front tooth, and your self-esteem is a little lower, and things just. And so we were able to, via partnering with our volunteer dentists and also our charitable organizations, we were able to come up with a treatment plan and be able to provide her with a temporary solution. So now that she has that replacement tooth, until she can become an adult age and get a more permanent fix. And so it was amazing to be able to see her that next time she came back, that next 6-month visit, see her smiling and glowing and super happy. Yeah. And it just really warms your heart and makes you thankful for what you're doing.
No, for sure. And behind the scenes, kind of getting details about a few other stories. One that I wanted to ask you about in particular, a patient who was, I believe, 18 and maybe hadn't been to the dentist before.
Yes, no, another great story where I got contacted by a school nurse. The girl was 18, never been to the dentist before, and was in a lot of tooth pain, and so she was very nervous. The school was worried about, being able to get her to a dentist. The school was worried about would she be able to get to the dentist, and so we were able to bring her in, kind of assess the situation, and excuse me, we were able to bring her in, assess the situation, and we found that she had over 10 cavities. She also had 2 teeth, adult teeth, that were already beyond repair and causing her the pain and the issues, and so she was very nervous. But
understandably so,
because she had never been to the dentist before. But the other beauty about our program is that there's no time is not an issue. So we were able to kind of work over her fears, kind of ease her into the situation, and I'm happy to report at this point we're about halfway through her treatment plan. We've got the 2 problems out that were causing her the immense pain, and we're working towards finishing her treatment. And it really was heartwarming to get a note back from the school or an email and letting us know that she was very thankful and she was very appreciative. And not only was she appreciative of what we were able to do to get her out of pain, but that she was also using those oral health education tools that we were giving her to kind of help hopefully prevent in her adult life any kind of further issues. So we get stories like that, I feel like, at least every other month or monthly, because there's a lot of kids in need.
Mm-hmm. No, and definitely being able to improve that quality of life. I mean, that's you're eating, you're talking. I mean, if you're just trying to focus on being in an education environment and your jaws throbbing, like that's a big deal.
Absolutely. I think a couple of the bigger barriers that we really find is that one is the oral health education, right? Kids or parents, they lack the understanding and knowing the importance or what could happen if we don't take care of our oral health. Yeah. And so that's huge. Another big barrier that we overcome through our program is the lack of care, right? Access to care. Kids who don't have private dental insurance, you'll find, don't really have a lot of options or places to go. So that's the beauty of our program. Not only do we have that brick and mortar location where they can come to our office, any of the kids in our 10 county service area can come to and get treated, but sometimes there's not only just insurance issue as far as where to go, but a transportation issue.
Right.
And that's where the dental bus comes into play. The dental bus is really a great tool in that we're able to go to those kids at the schools. We're able to catch things that otherwise would go untreated or are left untreated, and those kids could be in pain for a long time.
Oh, definitely. And I mean, just pros and cons of being in a rural community, you know. A lot of people do enjoy the slower pace, but unfortunately, there's sometimes gaps in care. And so being able to take the technology on the road and then the developments of telehealth, you know, both of those have been just incredible as far as bridging those gaps in care. Obviously, we've talked a lot about our 0 to 18 crowd, but are there services offered for adults at the dental clinic?
A select few.
Okay.
Right now, mostly because of the giant need of the kids 0 to 18, we don't see adults, but we do help out when Sarah Bush needs us to via surgery clearance or whatnot. We will take in a few adults, but at this time we mainly want to focus our efforts on those kids 0 to 18 because as you see on the infographic, you know, there's 3,000 kids a year that we serve between our mobile bus and our office, so we're very busy.
Yes. When you're talking about the clearance, are you talking about like for surgery and for cancer treatment?
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Gotcha. Just wanted to make sure I understood there. So dental health in general is not a topic that we get to cover too terribly often here. I mean, I think it might have been several years, at least before I got here and got to host the show. So I think it'd be important to kind of talk about some of the different ailments, maybe ways to prevent them. So do you have any conditions that you're particularly passionate about that might be a good place to start?
Yeah, sure. So I mean, I think especially with the kids we see, the big three are when to go, right? A lot of times kids don't come until they're 5, 6 years old. And as dentists, we want you to be seen as soon as that first tooth comes, or at 1 year of age.
Wow.
And so being seen often, being seen twice a year, so that way that you can be, not only are we seeing, you know, making sure that we're seeing the kids so that they're okay, but this is when we really educate the parents, right? Make sure that we're implementing those things that help keep the kids healthy, and so that hopefully those issues, those cavities, those infections don't arise, right? The other big thing we talk about is brushing, right? We needed to brush twice a day with fluoride toothpaste. I always preach to the kids, nighttime's your most important, and flossing once a day as well. And then also, you know, a lot of times when we dive into kids and talking to the parents or the kids about, you know, if they have 10 or 12 cavities, well, what could be the cause? A lot of times it comes down to what we're eating and what we're drinking, right?
Uh-oh.
The healthy snacks, right? And so we're trying to educate them as far as, you know, the health. There's no such thing as a healthy soda or a healthy juice. You know, we want to stick to more water milk routine as far as drinks are concerned. Eliminate the sodas, the teas, the lemonades, and same thing with the snacks, right? We know a lot of the normal ones, the candies, the cookies, things of that nature. But also eliminating those chips, those crackers, and things like that. Snacking on more fresh fruits, vegetables, cheeses, things along those nature, and that way, hopefully, again, our goal is to help not only alleviate the issues they might have, the cavities, the pain, the infections, but also promoting that healthy lifestyle so that they can have a healthier mouth down the road.
Yeah. So if we're introducing dental health to our youngest patients, like obviously if it's a 1-year-old, I'm probably still helping with that. We've got the tiny toothbrush. How do you go about starting to have this conversation with your child?
Yeah, so, you know, the key to that is just trying to make it as a happiest experience as possible, right?
Okay.
You're trying to let them play with the toothbrush a little bit, try to get them used to it, and then at that point, then you kind of take it back, and then you brush their teeth just like you would brush a 5-year-old or a 6-year-old. You make sure that you get it in there. It might be a little shorter time span, of course, but you're just trying to get them used to it, get them into a situation where they can enjoy it and promote that health, the dental health.
And I'm sure starting that early and keeping it up, getting it to the point where you prevent the tooth pain will probably keep the dentist from being as scary.
Absolutely. We don't want to be known as a scary person. So the more you can promote the dental health, keep the mouth healthy, the more we're going to be looked at as a happy place to visit, which we prefer as well.
So we've talked about cavities and things. Is there anything else mouth health wise that you can talk about? I don't know if gingivitis is a little heavy to talk about, but
Sure,
is that?
Sure. I mean, we can dive into that. I mean, the big thing is making sure that we take care of our you know, it all goes back to the basics of making sure that we're brushing twice a day, making sure that you're flossing once a day, making sure that we are, you know, brushing our tongue. A lot of times kids, you know, it's rough to be a teenager and have bad breath. So, you know, one of those big educational points is to make sure that we're brushing our tongue, not missing those spots, and you keep the teeth healthy, the gums healthy. You know, you'll keep the gingivitis away and the bad breath.
Mm-hmm. And I know that this is also a pivot from maybe more of the pediatric side of things, but for smokers, are there different steps that they should be taking to try and keep their mouth healthy?
Absolutely. I mean, well, first off, the best thing to do would be to quit smoking, right?
Facts.
Yes. It does a very negative effect to your mouth, and so it dries your mouth out, which is, you know, again, a big source of bad breath. Also, you know, dental decay. You know, your saliva is a great buffer in trying to help prevent cavities. So, you know, the biggest thing I tell kids or parents, because we do educate our parents while we're there as well, sometimes when they ask us questions, is, you know, the best thing to do is stop smoking.
Mm-hmm. I feel like I read that enamel is like the literal hardest substance in the human body. So is that what's getting broken down with those like sugary?
Correct. So
good for the taste buds, but not good for the teeth.
100%. Yeah. So the enamel, that's your protective layer. That's what you don't want to break, and so that's what when we use our fluoride toothpaste, that's what we're helping re-strengthen or remineralize. And so it's essentially a battle every day between sugar. Sugar's breaking that, trying to break that down. We're trying to build it back up, whether naturally through our saliva or artificially through our toothpaste and brushing. And so, yeah, that's the protective layer that you want to keep at all costs.
Yeah. Well, as we're in our last couple of minutes here, is there anything about this topic, the mobile unit, any of it, that I didn't ask about that you think might be important for people to know about?
You know, I think the big thing is you know, kind of getting back to our program at Sarah Bush is just the awareness of it. Don't be afraid to sign up your kid. If you qualify, bring them in. Let them be seen either through our office, through our bus, and prevention goes a long way. And so even if it's just a dental exam on the bus, we can do a lot of good by being able to put our eyes on the kids and making sure that they're healthy and promoting that good dental health.
Mm-hmm. And again, in our last couple of minutes here, a crystal ball looking into the future. Is there anything that if you could have anything to help improve this program, to maybe broaden it, what would it be? What would that look like to you?
Well, we could always use more resources, right?
Yeah.
More volunteer dentists, more help with oral surgery, and in certain cases, you know, we're a great program. We have a great staff, but we're still limited, and there's a lot of kids in need. So, any dentist who's willing to volunteer and help us out would be great, and we would greatly appreciate that.
And so, if I'm someone who's interested, can I do that as someone who's like already practicing elsewhere? Because that's kind of that's how you started.
That's how I started. Yeah, I was practicing somewhere else, and we got involved through volunteering, and yeah, absolutely. That's how I would begin. Just reach out to us, and we'll be more than glad to go from there.
Yeah. Is there like a range of time commitment?
As little or as often as you want. Yes, yeah, absolutely.
No, I feel like that would help keep it broad and maybe help reel some more folks in.
Yeah.
As we wrap up, do you have maybe one more story that you think about that's just been such a great transformation thanks to this program?
You know, another story that comes to my mind is a kiddo that we saw. He was a young kid, 5 or 6, a lot of issues, maybe 10, 12 cavities, and another kid who, you know, some of the, you know, it's one thing to fix the cavities, but it's another thing to fix the perception of what the dentist is. And so he's been with us now for, I'm almost there 5 years. We've seen him for 5 years, and we went from not being able to sit in the chair, running to the corner, to now every time he comes back in, he high fives, he's hugging, and he's happy to be there. And to me, that's a huge success, because it's one thing, like you said, to fix the issues, but it's another thing to want to be able to promote that healthy dental lifestyle, and want him to be able to, when he's 18 and he graduates our program, be able to go out and still be a fan of the dentist and want to still be able to take care of his teeth.
Yeah, that sounds like a slam dunk. Well, Dr. Cody Gass, thank you so much for being here. We've learned a lot about the teeth, a lot about this program, and we sure appreciate your time.
Oh, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Of course, and we thank our viewers for joining us for Season 17 of Being Well. If you'd like like to catch any of the prior episodes of this season, you can find those on our YouTube page. It's WEIU TV, Public Broadcasting Station. And we thank you for joining us for this season, and we hope to see you next time.
Carl is redefining healthcare around you, innovating new solutions and offering all levels of care when and where you need it. Investing in technology and research to optimize healthcare, Carl, with Health Alliance, is always at the forefront to help you thrive.
For over 50 years, Horizon Health has been keeping you and your family healthy. And although some things have changed, Horizon Health's commitment to meet the ever-changing needs of our community has remained the same. Horizon Health, 50 years strong.
When Sarah Bush Lincoln opened in 1977, it was with the promise to serve the community's healthcare needs. It has grown into a 2-hospital system with nearly 60 clinics that provide trusted, compassionate care.